Okay, we are back here on Patriots No-Huddle, brought to you by PatsFans.com. Derek Havens, Steve Ballsjerry, Mike D-Bate, as always, your hosts. Today, have a friend of the show, someone you know way too well. One of the best, one of the best guys in the industry. Miguel Benzan. Miguel, also known as @PatsCap, by the way, but I assume everyone who's listening to the show probably has a Twitter. Miguel, how you doing today, man?
Doing all right. A little busy. Was raining here, and I thought it was like a thunder. But like, please do not lose power during the show. So I'm crossing my fingers.
Well, we'll see. We'll see.
I know. I'm like, oh my gosh. This is crazy.
I'll have to call in a wellness check. Otherwise, I'm a little concerned about that. So
yeah, it was kind of funny. I was like,
if I started the podcast without saying, Steve, how you doing? I feel like people would be concerned. So, Steve, how you doing?
Doing well. We had a monsoon here earlier, Miguel.
Okay.
Lightning, thunder, the whole 9 yards. I was thinking the same thing you were, but I am so glad to see you, my friend. It's been way too long.
Yep.
And I miss you, man. So
I listen to you guys.
I'm feeling better today now that I've seen you.
Thank you.
All right, Mike, I got to check on you now, and then we'll be done with, as Mike Felger would say, we're done with the pleasantries. So, but before we get a check on Mike, how you doing, Mike?
Absolutely. Derek, I'm doing great. And just to clarify, Miguel, the Lord himself would not cut power when we are destined to get the wisdom, the counsel from the man I like to call, and folks, if you've listened to me in the past, you knew these were coming, the Baron of the bottom line, the Pharaoh of Foxborough Finance, the monarch of monetary wisdom and counsel when it comes to Foxborough Finance, my good friend Miguel Benzan. Buddy, I am so excited to be on the microphone again with you. Thank you for joining us here today on Patriots No Huddle. I know the guys have got some great questions for you. I've got a few, so let's dive right into it, because they're not here to hear my alliteration, buddy. They are here for your financial wisdom and counsel.
Well, yeah, this is here for your alliteration.
This is like, I love them. I love them. This is a great time because the Patriots the NFL is in a slow season, so I was like, all right, and I'm about to go on vacation. I'm like, okay, let's rock and roll with these guys. And I've been listening to you guys, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I gotta go and correct these guys. These guys talking about Henderson and Bourne, Stevenson. Oh my gosh!
We're gonna dive into that. Don't you?
Yeah. So let me let's set the record straight, and let's talk about I know you guys are big into the draft, and I was like, oh my gosh! I was like, you guys are it was funny because, as you guys know, I'm not as big in the draft as you guys, but these people were just so like they didn't want Will Campbell. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious! I'm like, he plays in the SEC. I'm like, I don't know. Like that joke about him being his arms too short to tie his shoes. That cracked the first time you said that, Derek. That cracked that out of me up.
Turns out he can't even put his arms down and tie his belt. I mean,
I know, really.
It's like, crazy. Oh. It's not like he's 6'6", 315 and played 66 games in the SEC, but whatever, it's fine. I didn't bring him up literally a year before the draft, but we'll put that aside here. I'm not here to pat myself on the back, and we'll see if he's a good player or not. But yeah, people are taking that one and running a mile with that. Miguel, before we jump in real quick, I want to thank everyone who's listening live. Again, thank you to tuning into Patriots No Huddle. Please do subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Like, share, leave us a review. It keeps us high in the podcast ranking so other Patriots fans can find us. Miguel, we have a lot of things to go through, so let's just run it through the garden, okay? First thing is, what was your take on the draft class? And what the Patriots have done this offseason overall?
Okay, my take on the draft class is that people are in a rush to get takes. I was like, oh my gosh, they drafted a long snapper. They drafted a kicker. Oh my gosh, they could have drafted someone else. Ooh, I mean, and then we got the thing that doesn't make the most sense to me is, Chisholm got so much money, he's guaranteed a roster spot. And they're saying that in April, right? But 2 days later or 3 days later, they're writing a 53-man roster projection where they're cutting Jalen Polk, who has far more guaranteed money than Chisholm. And I've been saying this forever. How much guaranteed money you at DDF gets doesn't matter. And what they do in OTAs, what they do in training camp, that's what matters. I know it's a nice number to have, but it has nothing to do with them making a team. The number reflects the demand for their services after the draft. That it doesn't mean they're going to make the team at all, especially when the Patriots have an adjusted cap number over $300 million. Them guaranteeing $234,000 is meaningless, immaterial. And then people just going off on the drafting a kicker and long snapper, and maybe they drafted a running back too high. I'm like, oh my goodness gracious. I don't know. Like, I just don't know. That's the best thing about not being in drafts is I don't get to hear these takes.
Well,
I just hear them and just ignore them.
I'll just say this, and then I'll flip it over to Mike or Steve, because there's a couple different things there. I've heard from a lot of different guys that they'd rather be undrafted than be drafted in like the 6th or 7th round because you can get more money. Essentially, it sounds stupid, but you can kind of pick your spot versus being taken. You know, like Julian Edelman, for example, was going to be a Green Bay Packer if the Patriots didn't take him where they took him. So there's some things to say about that. There's a lot to go in with a couple different things too. I guess the other thing is that I don't know if you heard it, but I know Mike will back me up on this. I've been talking about Travion Henderson for like 4 months. I was like, hey, he's tailor-made for Josh McDaniels' offense. I'm like, it made too much sense. You could literally see the player and see the role. And honestly, there's so many different things that I'm excited about for what this team and where this team is projecting. But to me, I am so excited to see what his fit's going to be in this offense because I can see him literally just being absolutely stellar. So I get that. Mike, why don't you go next? Do you have any question for Miguel?
Well, yeah, I think that's a great segue, Derek. Let's talk about Henderson a little bit, Miguel. Being the monetary maestro of Pats Nation, as you are, my friend. For those of you scoring at home, that's his fourth nickname, folks. And I'm not done yet, believe me.
We're up. We got a few.
I kid. I hold this man in the highest regard. He is a truly, truly great man. Henderson remains the only Patriots draft pick right now that has yet to sign his contract.
Yep.
Second round pick, not necessarily too surprising. A lot of second round picks throughout the league continue to be the proverbial holdouts, so to speak. Their contracts, their deals, usually governed by the NFL rookie salary scale, but the details surrounding the guaranteed amounts is what I'm hearing right now is the holdup with Henderson and a lot of other rookies, second-round rookies in his situation. So even though his contract is still being negotiated, I'm not going to put you on the spot and ask you when you think his deal is going to be signed, although you can speculate on that if you'd like.
Yeah.
But once it is, what is a deal for Travion Henderson going to look like? What should Pats fans expect when this is finally set?
And actually, before you even answer, Miguel, honestly, like I know that we know there's a rookie wage scale. So is it really just more of a structural thing in terms of like people being paid in like in advance, like front loading a contract or whatever, or a signing bonus thing?
It's about the structure, but not about the signing bonus. Basically, we know from prior years that Henderson's 2025 salary will be fully guaranteed. His second year salary, the 2026 salary, will be fully guaranteed. We know his 2027 salary is fully guaranteed. What these guys are arguing right now is how much of his 2028 salary is going to be fully guaranteed. The guy who's drafted in the 38th pick overall had 22.5% of his fourth year salary fully guaranteed. All right. The Saints drafted a quarterback, I think 2 picks after Henderson.
Yep.
Yeah, that quarterback, I think Tyler Shaw. If your memory is failing, I mispronounced his name. I'm so sorry.
It's
all right.
Shuck. I thought it was Shaw. It's Shuck.
I have no idea.
Yeah,
I have no idea. All right, I'm sorry.
No, I'm just
Okay.
telling you. Yeah.
Okay. He wants, because he's a quarterback, he wants all of his 4 years fully guaranteed. Okay. The guy in his same spot last year had 12%. So he wants to go from 12% to 100%. And that's the holdup. All right. So then you get, and Mike's asked me when I expect him to sign. I will say Henderson will sign the day before the rookies report. And I think that's July 22nd. So I'm gonna go on record as July 21st. Okay, I'll go on record my pick, which would mean our good friend Mike from Florida is gonna panic until then. It is nothing. It's I remember when Mike Reese on the Sunday column talked about the unsigned draft picks, and then people were talking about how cheap the Patriots were. All right, like the holders with it had nothing. It's all about the structure, and for the there's 30. Most of the unsigned draft picks are second round picks. Two only been signed, and that's the top 2. They both got 100% of all the 4 years fully guaranteed. That has, and then with Tyler, the quarterback, wanting the same thing, that has slowed things down. The NFL's on a break. All right, they're in no rush to do anything because literally there's no competitive advantage to signing your picks on July 1st rather than July 20th. There's no competitive disadvantage that on signing Henderson on July right before the training camp starts begins, because you're not going to be no one who's watching this. No one can tell in October or September, or November or December when Henderson signed.
Right.
You know, if he signs right before training camp, no one's gonna. It's only people like me who track when I do this. Like, I track when people get signed just because I've seen the signing draft pick signs over the years get faster and faster and faster. All right, and this year is out of the ordinary. All right, because the second round picks.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there's a lot of different things with that. I think you could look at the NIL money in college, which I do think that college athletes should be able to make money off name, image, and likeness. Yep. Look at, I mean, Johnny Manziel, for example, like kind of a recent example. Like, think about the money he could have made, but I understand that paying college athlete, there's a gray area there. It's a huge thing. But like, I do think that the money that some of these guys are making in college does give them a reason to kind of be like, have a little bit more holdover, which is kind of like an interesting aspect of the whole thing. I mean, look at the Shamar Stewart thing, the defensive lineman from Texas A&M and the Browns, the Bengals, a crazy situation. I mean, that's kind of a different ball of wax. We're not going to dive into that. But I do think there is a multi-tiered thing there. So, Steve, what do you got for Miguel?
It's good to see you again, bro. Are there any contracts so far with the Patriots that really surprised you with how they were structured?
Okay. Milton Williams deal, even though he got 4 years, $104 million, $26 million a year, his third year salary isn't fully guaranteed now. It's not even fully guaranteed in 2026. He can get cut in 2027 before his salary gets fully guaranteed. That's a great deal for the Patriots. That gives them so much flexibility.
Well, when you play less than 50% of the snaps, and then you give them the highest AAV that any Patriot player has ever gotten in history, and you're projecting this player to grow, it kind of gave him, some leverage, right?
Yeah. Well, the leverage he got was he had a competing offer from the Carolina Panthers.
Correct.
So the Patriots had to beat their offer. I was like, so I think if the Panthers, maybe if the people have to remember when you sign a player, he's probably not the only. You're not the only team who's probably dealing with him. And the Patriots had to beat an offer, and they did. Derek, the whole thing about them having Milton Williams having the biggest contract, that's because this year the league cap is higher than ever. Like if you go by the percentage of the cap, Drew Bledsoe's deal in 2001 is takes up a bigger percentage of the cap now than Milton Williams' deal. It's just that the cap is bigger, so then that thing looks bigger, and that's what I wish the beat writers would talk about how the deals take up a percentage of the cap, because the cap keeps on growing, and every year the numbers are going to keep on going up and up and up, and we really can't compare the past years. If you're going by gross numbers, let's go by percentage. And I said this to Mike before, that Drake May will sign a deal if he does what we think he does. His next deal with the Patriots will be for more money than Tom Brady ever got total from the Patriots.
I totally agree.
Yeah,
totally agree. Absolutely. I mean, a lot of people look at the deal that Patrick Mahomes signed with the Chiefs. I mean, people looked at it and they were like $500 million. Like, holy crap! And yeah, it's a lot of money. It's not to downplay it, but you just
I'll take it.
I think we'd all take it, but hell, we can all split it. But it's like $500 million. Like, holy crap! But look where like everything is exponentially growing. Growing all across sports. I mean, if you're NBA fan listening to the show right now, look at what Shai Glorious Alexander just got today. It was almost $300 million. He's going to make over $70 million on average for the next 4 years. That's insane money,
fully
guaranteed. And that's fully guaranteed, which are different. It's a different thing, but
it's a different thing. It's like I was one of my projects this year is this summer is to read this 61-page report about the collusion in the NFL. Because if you ever you've listened to me, I'm all for the players, and the fact that they found that the owners were colluding to hold down the amount of guaranteed money in deals,
1,000%,
and somehow they didn't get they didn't lose any money. They weren't fined. Nothing happened to them. But it is what it is. I'll say this about the draft picks: the owners is going to have to start paying them more money. All right, because of the NIL.
Yep.
Because eventually, players like who you get told you're going in the 4th or 5th round, and you're still making. You might get $1 million from a school. You might stay. You know what I'm saying? You might stay that year, one more year. Like they're gonna have to bump that salary. They're gonna have to bump the bonuses the guys who get in the bottom round to come up.
Yeah, 100%. But let's shift it back to the Patriots though. Steve, you and I have talked about Kendrick Bourne, in the receiver position, and Mike, of course, you as well. But like, Steve, when we're talking about the receiver position, there's a lot of question marks, and it's like, are they going to be able to hold 7? Probably not. Could he be someone that's maybe sent out the door if they want to exchange it for someone else? Steve, I don't know if you have anything to add, but Miguel, my question to you would be like, what's Kendrick Bourne's situation look like from a contract standpoint? Before you answer, Steve, I don't know if you have anything to kind of compound on that.
Yeah, go ahead, Miguel.
Okay. So Kendrick Bourne, you could save him, cut him. You save the same amount of money, all right, because he doesn't have any guaranteed salary, all right. Or you're gonna have very little dead money, so you're gonna create over $5.3 million of cap space this year and $5.6 million next year. All right. It is. If they wanted to move him, they could easily move him. They could also, the thing with him, they have so much cap space, guys, that they could eat some salary on the way out.
Sure.
All right, which will increase his dead money. And the more salary you eat, the more likely you'll get a better draft pick. So people have been saying, well, we're not going to get that much for him. All right. But if you make it so his new team is only paying him $2 million rather than $5.5 million, you might get a sixth or fifth or fourth round, not a fourth. I mean, you might get a fifth round pick for him.
Yeah, that makes
What
sense.
this whole thing, I'm surprised by how many people have said that Matt Collins is a lock, and because I'm based on what has he done? So just because it cannot be his deal. Because it's a 1-year deal. The signing bonus proration is a sunk cost. It's going to be on your books no matter what, if he's on the roster or off the roster. So it can't be because you paid him a signing bonus. All right. He doesn't have that much guaranteed salary. So why do people? I want to know, like, why do people think he's a roster lock when he hasn't? He's, as far as I can tell, he's practiced less or as. I don't know how he's practiced as much as Kendrick Bourne. And so I'm more. My pick for a surprise cut is him.
Yeah, no,
I'm so many people have him as a roster lock. Excuse me.
I do.
Yeah,
Huh?
I agree.
I do, because I think they brought him in for a reason, and it wasn't just to sign a wide receiver.
Okay.
And if you go back just a couple of years when he was in Las Vegas,
Yep.
he had a really solid season with Josh McDaniels. But the other thing, I think he fulfills a need that they require. He's a big physical red zone target, and he does the dirty work. He does all that stuff that you don't see in the, in the highlights, because he'll go downfield and block. In the running game, he's a big blocker. And you look at the trust he built up with Josh Allen last year in Buffalo. That tells me that they brought him in for a reason. I believe he's going to be a roster lock.
All right.
And there was a rumor. There was a rumor that I think like three episodes ago on our show, I had mentioned that I had heard that he was dealing with Matt Collins. Was dealing with an injury, and I don't know if that's true or not true. It's not, but I don't know. So if he is, then maybe he's a pup candidate, whatever. I don't know if Jalen Polk. I don't see a world where Jalen Polk and Javon Baker both make the team. I just don't see how that even happens. Just if you want to run through the numbers. I think part of me feels like Kendrick, like, obviously they brought Matt Collins in, and maybe you're looking at like, oh, Kendrick Bourne's going to go ahead and be out. But then you're talking about, look at Vrabel's, look at what Vrabel has done. He's about high character guys. And I've never heard you can argue about a couple different things. I've never heard anyone say anything bad about Kendrick Bourne. So that would make sense, even if his money is easy to cut.
Yeah.
I also think, to your point, Miguel, that you could go ahead and get something in return for him potentially, even if it's a late round pick, because guess what? It's okay, because if you already have the rest of your guys, you'd rather get something than nothing.
Yep.
So there's that. So I think that whole situation, I think the receiver situation is going to be absolutely fascinating. And I'm so excited for Mike to be boots on the ground and kind of look at that, because receivers are one of the few positions in training camp, as a lot of us know, that when you're actually there, you can actually kind of diagnose a couple of things from it. Like, it's hard with can I tell you that like Layden Robinson or Caden Wallace or Cole Strange or City or any one of those guys, they're going to be playing a certain tackle or guard spot, specifically when they're all the way across the field, and you're really going to get something from that when their guys are not being as physical as possible? Or is it easier to see if like Kyle Williams can separate, and how his releases are off the line, and our guys consistently hauling in passes, our defensive backs, like, is Alex Austin going to be able to deflect and have PBUs or interceptions? Like, those things are all easier to see. It's going to be hard to tell if like Robert Spillane is tackling a running back, versus, or running backs making a cut. There's only so many things that you can do from there. I don't know, Steve, Mike. I don't know whoever wants to go next. You guys rip it up.
Mikey.
Yeah, I just wanted to get back to Hollins for just a moment because Miguel, I want to let you know you're absolutely correct in thinking that Mac's contract in no way makes him a roster lock on this team. The way that contract is structured is not something that the Patriots would blink or think twice about if they have to unload it. I also want to give my Patriots paisan a little tip of the cap there as well because I think he's right on the money in saying what does make him a roster lock is the versatility that he shows. A good friend of mine who covers the Buffalo Bills, pretty popular beat writer up there, texted me immediately after Mac signed and said, "You guys just got yourself a professional football player."
Yep.
And I said,
That's what I
okay,
need.
expand upon that. I want to know a little more about that. He says, Mac Hollins will do whatever you tell him to do. He'll do it to the best of his ability, and he'll do it with a smile on his face. And that's exactly, I think, what Mike Vrabel is looking for in that locker room. He's looking for a veteran presence, somebody that the team loves, and somebody that will essentially do his job as purported, and he'll do it to the best of his ability. Kendrick Bourne resembles that remark as well. So I don't necessarily think it's one guy or the other. I think you could end up with a roster where both of these guys are on the roster. Mike Vrabel is not afraid to make difficult decisions. I know the fans have their favorites, but keep a sharp eye on who fits his profile in terms of the players he likes to have on the roster, along with Josh McDaniels. And I think you'll see Mac Hollins' value to this team. So that's my 2 cents on Mac. But Miguel, in the vein of what we've been talking about veterans that could have a financial incentive to be released by the New England Patriots, one of the names that keeps coming up consistently is Kyle Duggar. Now, Duggar struggled last season, brand new contract just a year ago. Duggar right now, to me, fits a profile on this team. He fits a specific spot, but you can make the argument that if Craig Woodson comes in and plays at a high level, Jabril Peppers takes that next step and becomes the team leader everyone expected him to be last year, and guys like Del Pettis continue to perform at a high level, Duggar could be on the outside looking in. How much of a financial liability would the Patriots be facing if they looked to Kyle Duggar as a potential trade candidate or maybe even a cut candidate this
Okay, see, because his $9.75 million salary for this year is fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
So if you cut him, you don't save any money on the on that. It remains on the books, all right? And if he signs somewhere else, and he most likely would, you would get credit on the 2026 cap for whatever he signs for. He has no incentive.
But it's offsetting, though, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll be offset. He'll get an offset, but the offset doesn't hit the cap. It won't hit the 2025 cap. It'll hit the 2026 cap. If you had access to the in-season NFLA PA report, you'll see under his as he plays each week he plays with a different team, the amount of cash that is listed on his record, his row, gets decreases by how much he gets paid by the other team. All right, so it does get offset. So your best bet for Kyle Duggar is to find him. I mean, cap wise, is to find him trading a new team and trade it to him because the guaranteed salary goes with him in the trade.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so then you're just eating his signing bonus proration, which is no matter what is going to happen, be on his books, no matter what, cut or trade. It's the same amount of signing bonus proration. And by this time, he will have earned his offseason workout bonus. So when people should really include that figure in the dead money. Some people, when you look at the websites like OTC and the other site, they don't include in dead money the off-season workout bonus funds, which is a new thing for the Patriots. That money is included as dead money because these guys have definitely earned it. I will know I'm pretty sure that Doug has earned it. I'm pretty sure that the veterans have earned it. I won't know for a fact until September, but I'm pretty sure there's very few Patriots who don't show up to earn their bonus.
Again, I want to thank everyone for listening to Patriots No Huddle, brought to you by PatsFans.com. Steve, over to you. What do you got from Miguel?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about Carlton Davis's contract because now he's been kind of like the forgotten guy in all the other signings and whatnot. And just the last couple of days, I've seen a lot of chatter that they massively overpaid for this guy. I don't see that. I don't see it.
at all.
But I wanted to ask you
Okay.
how his contract looks to you, because I didn't think he was overpaid at all.
I don't know what do they expect him to had signed for? All right.
I don't know.
Okay, so like I don't know what in comparison when they say overpaid compared to what? All right.
Yeah,
I mean I don't those are one of the words overpay is just a subjective word. And then when they say overpay, you don't say to by what metric. It brings no meaning to you. I'm trying to think. I remember in March when
Well,
they signed when they signed him and all those deals. The only one that I thought might have gotten overpaid was Milton Williams. And then I looked at the structure of the deal. Okay, you can get out in 2 years. We're good. All right. You know what I'm saying? And he has so much but Carlton Davis, good lord. I mean
this guy's an awesome cornerback.
okay, hold
and
on. Jeez, I am gonna look at hold on. I'm gonna just do a tweet cook.
I mean,
Wow. I don't get it, Mike. I don't get it, Steve. But I I don't know. I want to look up what in comparison. Do a quick look in comparison where his deal rate. I don't remember. I thought it was a fair amount.
I think the question around it, Miguel, honestly, is quite literally that he's a little bit older to get. Just a little bit in NFL terms. Obviously, he's a young man, but like he's a little bit older to get the money that he got. So I think there's some people that question how much he got. I would disagree. I feel like given his contract and the way it was structured, I feel like it was pretty player friendly. It gives him the opportunity to earn a lot of money, and it was also team friendly at the same time. Both things can be true, by the way. And the team could cut themselves away from it if they want to.
Right. So like he got a 3-year deal. First 2 years salary is fully guaranteed. He has big like everybody else. He has big roster bonuses in his deal. All right, per game after roster bonus. So he gets paid well if he's active for every game.
Right.
Yeah, he's in the top 20. I didn't want top 20 of cornerbacks, but he's gonna be.
He's 29 right now.
Yeah, he's 29, but in the top by new money API, he's in the top 20. He's 29 years old. He's on a 3-year deal. So at worst, you have him when he's still really good in his prime, 29, 30, and you move on from him and when he's 31 and with $5.5 million dead money. I guess if the argument is then my kind of if you want to say he's overpaid, fine. I'm not going to argue with you, right? But I'm saying, what would you have done instead at the cornerback position? That's like. I mean, then what would you want to do?
But you also know like that free agency is what it is, though, right, Miguel? Like you're gonna have to overpay. That's any sports outlet. That's everybody. Like you're gonna overpay for guys, you know. So yeah, is he a top 20 corner? No, but sometimes it's like the next quarterback that's due a deal.
Well, I look at him and Christian Gonzalez as kind of like not the exact same.
Yeah.
But when the Patriots had Revis
up next,
and Brandon Brown, because Davis is more of that physical, in your face, you know, you're going to know if you catch the ball in front of him. Now, Brandon Brown was a little bit more of that.
Yep.
But I think the Patriots have kind of like the same type of situation. And then I'm not saying Gonzalez is Darrelle Revis yet. I'm not saying that. But, you know, when I look at these two guys, I think they made a really good choice of pairing these two guys because it's like thunder and lightning.
Exactly. And I would also say, too, Steve,
about his deal that I thought was way out of line.
I'm looking at the more I look at the deal, I probably would have given, if you gave me a grade, ask a grade after this, I'd say a B. You know what I'm saying? A B, because it's a short deal for him, which he wants. You want 3 years. You want to keep players which want the short deals. The sooner you go back
Maybe
and free
cash
agents,
inning him. Yeah.
right? But the Patriots have him tied up for the next 2 years, and I don't, man, because they got praise. The people who think of the praise, Patriots got a little bit of praise for signing him. I know. Well, he's 29 years old, but cornerbacks can play. If he can play, he can play. That's all that matters. All right, I don't know. I guess, and then see, the Patriots can't win in this environment.
Yeah, that's
Because
very
you either overpaying the players, right, or you're cheap.
yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah, you can, depending on what radio show you listen to.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So, like,
100%. And the
okay.
other thing too is that if people are worried about what Carlton Davis got paid, they wait till you shit bricks. Sorry, Miguel. I'll put that dollar in the. I'll put that
Oh,
Okay.
Derek's
dollar
putting money in the
jar.
tip jar,
But
Miguel.
wait,
I know. I've been hearing him. I was wanting to come on. You could just put the, instead of having it at the end of the year at the tip jar, go to my pin post on Blue Sky and donate
I'll
for
throw a couple of
Alzheimer's.
bucks in there. That's
Absolutely.
fine. I'll probably be over 100.
You're not over 100 yet.
Derek's going to be buying a house there, Miguel.
I was going to say this way. Yeah, at this
I'll be
rate, he's going to
paying
be there
for
by the end of the week.
Yeah, at least. I would just say that if people are worried about Carlton Davis' contract, wait till they see what Christian Gonzalez gets next
Oh,
year.
my.
Because he's look up Patrick Surtain's money, and it's going to be north of that,
And-
unless he gets hurt. Knock on wood.
Yeah, because he and Keon White become free, are eligible to sign new deals next year. They can't do anything this year. But after the season, after the regular season is over, that's when they become eligible, and that's when the ka-ching comes in. And it was like, because the Patriots could go back to back with Christian Gonzalez 1 year, Drake May the next year. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And so I was like, oh, they could go ka-ching, ka-ching.
Let's hope so. I mean, honestly, if it doesn't happen like that, then if it doesn't happen like that, then honestly, something went wrong.
Yeah.
And if Will Campbell is able to finally reach his shoes, then you've got another contract there. We all know what offensive linemen make. So
Matt Collins should be the guy with the short arms, right? Because he doesn't wear shoes.
That's right.
He doesn't have to tie his shoelaces.
Good point, Steve.
Well, I heard Will Campbell reached in at 7-Eleven the other day to buy a hot dog, and he couldn't even reach in his pockets to get his wallet. His arms were so short. I don't know.
You do realize I'm going to have to see this guy this summer, right? You
I know. Hey, you don't have to. I'm one of his biggest fans. I just love the narrative around it. Every single time I hear from him, I think that they made a great pick, regardless of where he lands. I know he's going to be a player on the team. But we'll circle back to that at a different time. Yeah. Mike, where do you want to go next for Miguel?
All right, let's stay on that subject for a second as well. I'll throw another veteran name at you, my friend, because you've got the answers. We got the man with the plan. I always used to say that whenever I'd speak and I'd talk Foxborough finance with him. He does. He always sets the record straight. Before we ask you to set the record straight formally, because we're not getting rid of that segment here.
Okay.
A lot of Patriots fans right now are wondering what the fate of this running back room is going to be. And you mentioned Travion Henderson earlier. A lot of Patriots fans expect him to be the future of the franchise at that position. Antonio Gibson continues to be a name that a lot of people think about as a potential name that could, be here for a little while or potentially be on his way out. But I think right now the hot potato in that room is Ramondre Stevenson. A lot of people are wondering if Ramondre struggles at all this season, could we be looking at an early exit for the Patriots or an early parting of the ways, a mutual parting of the ways? I think that's how they like to put that in the Foxborough front office. Could there be a financial incentive or a financial problem that results for the Patriots if they choose within the next couple of years that contract that they signed Ramondre to a couple of years ago just simply doesn't work for them anymore?
Oh, okay. He's got some guaranteed salary this year, get some guaranteed salary next year. but it's not so much when they have so much cap space this year, and then probably carry over some cap space into next year. They can eat the money. All right. It's better for them always to trade the player, and it's always better to not to pay his salary on the way out. That lessens your dead money. All right. But the Patriots have, in comparison to the NFL, are in maybe 11 from the bottom in dead money. All right. So they can manage the dead money. All right. Stevenson, I don't know. Like, he might be a player that you might trade if Henderson is really well, and you like Gibson as his backup, and then whoever the fourth running back is on the team, you could, like if it's Larison or Lampay. All right. I hate when I mispronounce names.
It's Lampy, but yeah.
Lampy. Okay, excuse me. Thank you. If you like them, you could trade them during the season. All right, and then hopefully get something in return for a team that's desperate for running back help. Because Stevenson's deal is actually team friendly for the new team. Once you trade him away, because the Patriots already have paid his signing bonus. All right. And so he's got no guaranteed salary in 2027. He only has guaranteed salary in 2026, but it's a small amount. All right. It's $3.25 million in 2026. All right, which is about what 1% of the cap, just a little bit over 1% of the cap. So his deal is going to be team friendly for his new team, whatever it happens, if he was to get traded. All right.
Excellent, awesome stuff.
Yeah, and I'll have to say this. And when we're talking about guaranteed salary, folks, I'd like to remind everyone: if a player has guaranteed salary in 2026, 27, 28, and future years, if he's cut this year, those future guaranteed salaries hit the cap this year. Right?
Oh,
Yes, that's a big difference between signing bonus prorations. So if a player has signing bonus prorations in 26, 27, 28, if they get cut, that signing prorations will hit the 2026 cap altogether. But if you have future guaranteed salaries and you get cut in 2025, all that guaranteed salary hits the cap in 2025. So Ramondre is kind of protected from being a cap cut because he's got $3.25 million of dead money of guaranteed salary in 2026. But then again, he's playing for a team who's got a bunch of cap space. If he was on playing for a team like the Bills with very little cap space, I would say he wouldn't get cut at all, right? Because of the guaranteed salary thing, the future guaranteed salary. But he's playing for the Patriots, who've got a ton of cap space, who can afford to eat it. Once you have this much cap space,
that's the other thing, though, Miguel, is like they can't afford to eat it. So that's why I wonder, to me, I look at Kendrick Bourne, Ramondre Stevenson, and maybe Kyle Duggar. And I'm not saying those guys are going to be cut, but those three names, there's usually a surprise cut every year, every team. And I just wonder if one of those guys could go, because I look at the room and I just wonder where it goes. Now, I could talk myself in or out of every single one of those guys, and I don't need to do that exercise because we've kind of had conversations on the show before.
Yep.
But you could look at one of those guys and say, okay, well, does it, make sense? What doesn't? I honestly, I still think Stevenson has a place on the team. I want to say, and please correct me if anybody knows if I'm wrong. I want to say it was Tom Curran that said that Ramondre Stevenson had some personal stuff going on last year and dealt with some loss, and that maybe accounted for some of his, let's call it unfocus or whatever you want to classify that. So with his struggles last year, it was reported that he was dealing with some personal stuff off the field. The Bourne thing is really more of a numbers game to me, and the Duggar thing, obviously there's a money thing, but it's a different defense. It's a different regime. We had talked on a previous episode about Peppers and Mike Vrabel having a relationship going back to when Vrabel was recruiting Peppers coming out of high school at Ohio State, and And but he is the cheese that stands alone in terms of captains left from last year. So there's a lot of different things, but I do look at some of those guys as kind of cut candidates because there's usually one or two that like if you're going to tell me that if we're going to play the game of like, okay, is Lane Larison going to make the team? Is Efton Chisholm going to make the team as like a, UDFA that makes it? Well, then I also might tell you that there's going to be a guy like Kyle Duggar or whatever that gets cut, just hypothetically, because there's usually a surprise and there's usually a make. So that's one of those things. Guys, as we kind of wrap up here, Steve, I'll go to you. Unless something comes up, but Steve, why don't I go to you, and then Mike, I'll go to you, and then Mike, you can wrap for us. But Steve, to you, next thing for Miguel.
Yeah, I'm looking at the overall picture of the team. They still have a bunch of cap space.
Yep.
Now, what you mentioned earlier about dead money and if they cut somebody, that all that guaranteed money comes due this year.
Yeah.
Is there anybody that could possibly be on that list that's on your radar?
Oh, definitely Jalen Polk is going to be a guy who's going to have a bunch of guaranteed salary hit the cap if he's waived and not claimed. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So if he's waived and not claimed, but who? I should just have to say, but of course you want to trade the player rather than cut the player. But he's the one that sticks out the most because I found it fascinating that $234,000 from Efton Chisholm makes a big deal, but the millions that Polk has of guaranteed salary doesn't. I just think it's funny that it's that he is the player that I would think of that has. Okay, so I'm looking at the players who have 26 guaranteed salary, and Polk is the one that sticks out the most. That I think that might get cut this year. Like Milton Williams is not getting cut. Carlton Davis is not getting cut. Harold Landry's not getting cut. Robert Spillane, Morgan Moses, Drake, maybe Ramondre, Campbell, Gonzalez, Christian Ellis, but those guys. It's out of the guys who have future salary. It's going to be Polk, maybe Tavai, maybe Tavai. You know what I'm saying? And depending on the structure of his deal, Stephon Diggs. All right, but I don't think that's you know what I'm saying. But that's it. I mean, they have like close to $100 million in future guaranteed salaries on their cap fix. You know what I'm saying on the books right now. If you cut a play in the signing bonus proration, it doesn't really matter because it's on the books anyway, off the roster, on the roster. So it's just a guaranteed salary to play part. And most of the guys with future guaranteed salaries are pretty much roster lots. I'm saying, yeah. So that's a good question, but I think
I just wonder. I wonder. You just brought him up, and I said I was done, but I'll go to Mike next, and we can wrap it from there. But I just wonder about Jelani Tavai, because in one breath I can look at it's a different system from Belichick to Vrabel, and but Vrabel does like athletic linebackers, and he would classify as one. But I don't know if he's a Vrabel. Like, I don't know what Vrabel really looks like. I don't know how he looks at him. And then you have Marte Mapu, who's classified now from safety to linebacker. So I wonder if he could replace him and go from there. But I don't know if that's a question about, some people like pineapple on pizza and some people don't. So I don't know if it's a personal preference thing or if it's a fit. Like, I really don't know,
Yeah, I like pineapple.
Me too. I'm a big.
Period.
just so people know, and I will fight you in the comments. Hawaiian pizza is king, and I will die on that hill.
Okay.
Mike, to you, and then take us out, please.
You're not going to get me to stand on that hill with you, my friend. My heritage will not allow me to do
I
it.
can imagine.
Hey, buddy, you can throw prosciutto. You can throw prosciutto on there. That's no problem. Like I'm not, I might not be a paisan, but I can go ahead and be in that same thing. I'm good with the
I
smoked
respect it.
pepperoni. Trust me.
I-
I'm just
I-
saying
I-
that sometimes I can mix it up and go from there. So
I respect your right to love it. Now that's big for my people. Most people,
Yeah.
you know, like we take a really like hardline stance. I respect
little
your right
fresh
to love it.
mozzarella. I mean, what are we talking about here?
There we go. That's it. Now you're talking. Now you're talking. I like that.
See, I have
Miguel,
to talk,
what can I
have
say?
to talk with a little bit of Italian juice there, just to calm Mike down, because I could tell when I said that I liked pineapple on pizza that I thought he was going to reach through StreamYard and
He's talking with his hands now, Mike. He looks like an Italian.
I'm trying to calm him down.
I saw it. He was like, yeah. And
Hey,
then you
Steve,
put,
what did he say?
put a little bit of this in there.
But a beep. He wants to put the pineapple on the pizza. We got no choice.
Okay.
Bottom line, Miguel, what can I say? Thank you for taking the time out tonight to join us, to lend your wisdom and counsel, enlighten all of us with some of the great information that you always provide. I always say this: you're the best in the business at what you do. You
Thanks.
are an even better human being, and the work that you do for charity, whether it be Habitat for Humanity or whether it be for the Alzheimer's Foundation, folks, please check out Miguel's Blue Sky page. The links are all there. If you are able to, they're worthwhile causes, and you'll be helping out one of the great guys, not only in this industry, not only in Patriots Nation, but in any walk of life that you'll find. Truly love you, my friend, and I'm so glad that you joined us tonight here on Patriots No Huddle. But before I let you go, there is a tradition that you and I have on the microphone of setting the record straight, taking all of those erroneous cat myths that exist out there in the ether, whether it be myself or whether it be other Patriots beat writers, other Patriots media members that may be putting, I don't want to say falsehoods, but maybe uninformed opinions out there for Patriots masses to consume. Floor is yours, my friend. Set the record straight. What are you hearing out there that makes Miguel cringe just a little bit?
It's
because apparently for Mike it's pineapple on pizza. So.
No.
Yeah, that's big.
You know this, Mike. It's the emphasis on how much money the USDA makes. That just makes me cringe. And then, we gotta talk about
Poland.
I don't get why people are obsessed with this. I don't get it. It's literally $234,000, right? But the rookie salary is $840,000. See, that's such a small fraction. The 234 is such a small fraction of the 840. I'm like, it's not, and the Patriots have adjusted cap number is way over $300 million. So we're talking like extreme small percentage. So I didn't get it. I do want to take time to address. I had asked for some questions. Somebody had asked me about the positionals things and where the Patriots are over average. It's definitely in the defensive line, interior defensive line. When you got Barmore and Milton Williams, they have a lot of cap space. They're paying those two guys a lot of money. Their front seven is where they're spending a lot of the cap space on. All right. And then somebody asked me if there was a transaction that makes me think the Patriots might go after a big name wide receiver into 2026 if none of the guys become a number one this year in 2025. And it wasn't a transaction that was made by the Patriots. It's a reported offer to Chris Godwin. When I first heard that they made an offer to the deal, I guessed from what the reports were that it was around $28 million. We heard in the last 2 weeks it was $30 million from the Athletic. It was $30 million. All right. Yep. And I sent you guys a look at it based on the deal they gave to Milton Williams. All right. If you will offer Chris Godwin $30 million this year when the cap is $279.2 million, and the cap's going to go up to whatever it is, let's say close to $300 million. If there's a guy who becomes available in free agency who's the number one, I expect the Patriots to make him an offer that's probably 32 and a half, $33 million.
Yep.
If somehow the Commanders and Terry McClellan do not reach an agreement, and I do expect they will, the Patriots can easily give him a deal. Easily give him a deal. And if he's looking for $30 million, they could easily do it. Because Milton Williams, right? He is taking up in his deal. He's taking up $14 million of cap space. So and I showed you the in the bottom or in the spreadsheet I sent you, the deal that I would think if they offered Godwin his 2025 cap number was $18 million, which means the Patriots still have plenty of room to do it. All right. And I just looking at the spreadsheet, I realized I got the wrong year, his wrong age. I had somebody's age in it. That's all I got. I'd like to thank you guys. It feels like if you have, if you want to get the copy of the spreadsheet I sent to Mike, just make a donation to my pinned tweet for the walk for Alzheimer's. It's gonna be walking October 19th, and I'll send it to you. Just send me a DM, show me that you made a donation, and I'll send you the spreadsheet. The spreadsheet has we didn't get to talk to everybody about everything. It's got the 2025 header, and I do have a table in there that has everyone's cap number and a pivot table by the roster. So if you want to get a workbook with everyone's cap number, you can just make a donation.
No, I mean, this goes without saying, but I think you do an incredible amount of work for the community and for good services, and you are, like as Mike said, just to echo his thoughts, you're an incredible human being. So, it's a pleasure to share the microphone with you and go through that. I would say, of the one thing you just mentioned in your comments before we go off is that I do think the Terry McLaurin thing is interesting. Now, I think a lot of times I do think the Patriots could still be in the market for a receiver, even though we can sit here and say, man, are they going to carry 7 receivers? Like, I don't think they're going to. It's probably going to be closer to 6, but could they look to upgrade? I could see it. And McLaurin's a guy that I think would be a really good fit in the offense.
Yeah.
And so that could be one surprise move if it happens. I just don't think it's gonna happen. I think as these things happen in professional sports, it's usually like it's a lot of BSing about, some social media presence, some couple of rumors here and there, and then all of a sudden they strike a deal and he gets 32 million APV or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So that is what it is.
It'd be interesting to see what happens at the trade deadline. Who will be available?
Yeah.
Because the Patriots, when they lead the league in cap space, they should be leading the league in cap space at the trade deadline.
Yep.
Too. So they can make any move then too to acquire a person.
100%. And I think they have some wiggle room to do a couple different things. But anyways, Mike, why don't you take us out?
Absolutely. And once again, folks, our podcast today proves why they call him the King of Patriots, Quan. There is no plaque for the alternates, folks, because it doesn't exist. He is the Patriots salary cap top gun. There's 2 more for those of you scoring at home. No, all kidding aside, I can keep going all night long, but you guys definitely have things to do, and we appreciate that. Bottom line, folks, we appreciate all of the support that you provide to Patriots No-Huddle. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and to download Patriots No-Huddle wherever you get your podcasts, and especially to subscribe to the channel on YouTube, PatsFans.com. You want to make sure to subscribe to the Pats Fans channel, so that way you don't miss a single second of Patriots No Huddle as soon as it's made available. On behalf of my Patriots paisan, Steve Balestrieri, the Pineapple Prince himself, Derek Havens, and of course, the great and powerful Wizard of Benzan, my good friend Miguel Benzan, I'm Mike Debate, reminding all of you to stay safe, to stay well, to be the change that you wish to see in the world. As my friends laugh me off the microphone, have a great day.